Let's face it, most recruiting processes suck, but here's how to fight back. Hey everybody, it's Brian from A Life After Layoff, and today I want to talk to you about how to fight back against crappy recruiting processes. If you spent any time looking for a job in today's job market, you probably realize how broken most major corporations' hiring processes are. What's funny is talent acquisition professionals spend all this time trying to improve processes, trying to streamline things, trying to put in all these fancy little gadgets and gadgets. Some of them work. Some of them don't work at all, and some of them are completely ineffective, and some of them are just head scratching. The bottom line is that very few of them take into account the concept of candidate experience. Now, there's this mantra inside of talent acquisition that candidate experience is the most important thing, but very few companies actually back up the talk with actual actions. Now, I'm not gonna say that every recruiting process in every company is bad. There's actually some companies that do a really good job at it, and there's some really good people inside of talent acquisition that genuinely have the candidate's interest at heart. But unfortunately, there's some bad apples and some people who are only focused on their immediate job and trying to get it done, that they forget about the whole concept of candidate experience. I'm sure we're all familiar with being ghosted, and I'm sure we've all had experiences with outdated application processes. You submit a resume, you have to upload it, and then you end up having to manually put all the data back in again, or you have to create an account just to apply. Let's face it, nobody wants to create an account just to apply for a job that they're probably not going to hear back from anyway. And don't get me started on the applications that ask a bunch of stupid interview questions instead of actually having a first round screen with the person. And then of course, things like one-way interviews and jumping through multiple hoops just to get to the finish line. It can be really frustrating for the average job seeker. So in this video, I want to share how you can fight back against these stupid recruiting processes that you're unfortunately going to have to deal with. But before we get too far into it, if you're interested in more videos just like this directly from a corporate recruiter, maybe hit that subscribe button. And I'm also in the process of creating a new weekly newsletter. So if you want actionable tips on how to act like the CEO of your career, if you want to get a little sneak peek behind the scenes, or if you want access to exclusive discounts that will only be available for newsletter subscribers, make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link below, and it's 100% free. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, it'll be live. If not, give me a day or two, but I'm actively working on it right now. So what can you do to fight back against these crappy processes? Well, first of all, there's not much that you can do. So I would recommend that you learn to accept it and know that you can't change the process. However, you can change your approach to the process. Listen, I read just about every comment y'all leave through my channel, through my LinkedIn, through my Twitters, through my TikTok, and all the other socials that I'm on. And I understand that there is a degree of frustration here. And it's not just with job search, but it's with careers in general. There is a palpable sense that people are very frustrated and tired of how things are. And I honestly can't blame most of you for that. However, being upset, angry, and combative is not the most productive approach because it's not going to solve anything. However, what you can change is your mindset, because I always talk about how to act like the CEO of your own career. And this is a prime opportunity for you to do so. Because like it or not, there is an employment game and you have to learn how to play it, because if you don't learn how to play it, you're going to end up being frustrated. But once you shift your view from being a victim into being an owner, you'll start to see the world from a very different lens, and you'll start to approach the employment process and your careers very differently. So I'd encourage you to learn how to play the employment game. That's exactly what this channel is all about. The second thing that you can do is choose where you spend your time. And listen, when a company posts a job that has ridiculous expectations and a low salary to boot, it's telling me that they're a low quality employer. And me as a free agent, me as the CEO of my career, I'm not going to waste my time with a company like that. When I do, I'm essentially enabling them to continue to do so, because these companies won't stay in business very long if people stop applying to low quality opportunities. And I know that there are people out there who are desperately looking to get back to work, but just know that it becomes a vicious cycle. One bad employer tends to lead to the next bad employer, tends to lead to the next bad employer, because each job that you take is either going to strengthen or weaken your resume. In this case, when you vote for that low quality employer, you're essentially allowing them to continue doing what they're doing because there's no consequence to them. Furthermore, when you do get deep into a recruiting process, know when to cut your losses. When you think you're at the finish line, that company suddenly pumps the brakes and starts getting a little wishy-washy and non-committal. It likely means that you're a silver medalist candidate, or maybe even a bronze medalist, or even worse. And what that means is that you're the second or third choice, that there is somebody in front of you in the interview process that they like better, and they're completing an offer process with them first. They want to keep you warm in case this other person declines it, But basically, you're playing second fiddle. And as an owner, I don't like to feel like somebody's second choice. So I'm continuing to aggressively apply until I find the best opportunity for me and one that values me as much as I value them. So I'm not going to wait around for one single employer to make a decision, especially when I'm a silver medalist and they're being wishy-washy. I also recommend that you focus on quality over quantity. And the reason being is that even when you're unemployed, your time is still very precious because there's lots of things you should be doing when you're unemployed besides just looking for jobs. You should be building networks, you should be improving your skills, you should be working on side hustles, and all those things that are going to set you up for future success. So value your time properly. And let me give you an example to illustrate this. On my LinkedIn profile recently, I saw that somebody posted that they had applied to 600 jobs over the last 6 months and hadn't gotten a single offer. And they were really desperate and they were about to lose their house and they were going to be homeless. So they put out this plea to their network and begging people to give them a chance. I mean, it got me thinking, first of all, kudos to them for spending that amount of time going through 600 applications. I couldn't even imagine how long it took to go through and actually apply for each one of those jobs, go through their application process. I'm sure they made them jump through a bunch of stupid hoops. I'm sure they made them fill out assessments. I'm sure they made them do those one-way interviews and all of the crappy things that companies like to make you do. And I can't even imagine the volume of rejection letters that you might get from 600 applications if they got rejection letters at all. But what that tells me is that they're not focused. They are applying to literally anything that they can. It's the throw the mud against the wall approach that just never works. You'd be much better off spending your time trying to find very targeted positions that you're a good fit for and using that extra time to customize a great resume that's hopefully going to get your foot in the door for that first round interview. And as the CEO of my career, I don't like wasting time on non-value added activities, and applying to 600 jobs is just simply not that. The next thing I would suggest is adjusting your approach. If you're trying the same things over and over and over again and you're getting the same result, it's time to stop doing that and try something different. And the longer you go stubbornly sticking to something that isn't working, the more likely it is that you're going to be missing out on really great opportunities. And an example of this is if you're using a resume that is not getting you results, stop working with a bad resume that's likely going to end up having you get rejected again. Because what if your ideal position pops up? Are you really wanting to apply with the same resume that's been rejected 600 times before? And if you don't know if your resume sucks, here's a little litmus test. If you're applying for job after job and assuming that you're reasonably qualified for the positions that you're applying to and you keep getting rejected, it's almost always a resume issue. So fix the resume or you're going to keep on losing out on opportunities that could get you back to work quicker. And additionally, if you're in an interview process and you can't seem to get through it, you always get rejected at the same stage. Figure out why you're getting rejected. Is it that you're not delivering the right kind of answers? Is that you get nervous? Is that you just don't even know how to interview? And that's another opportunity for you to adjust and pivot what you're doing because something isn't working. So many people stick with methods that simply don't work, and all it's doing is costing them time, energy, and most importantly, a considerable sum of money in the form of lost income. And the last thing that I want to cover in today's video, and this is potentially the most impactful tip of them all, is learn how to skip the recruiter altogether. If you truly want to fight back, don't even participate in the application process. Learn how to leverage networking. Learning how to leverage your networks, especially with the right kinds of people, is the single most impactful thing that you can do for your long-term job search. And statistically speaking, you only have a 2% chance of landing a job offer through a job application. A vast majority of hires comes through a recruiter reaching out to you or going through your networks. So learn how to leverage those tools because it's one of the most impactful things you can invest in your entire career. Because trust me, it's a lot easier to land a job when the recruiter is coming and searching you out versus you applying to a job amongst 800, 900, 1,000 other people and hoping that you get noticed. So these are some ways that you can fight back against these recruiting processes that are broken. Again, you're not going to change the system, but you can learn how to play it to your advantage. If you need more help doing that, that's actually something that I specialize in. I've got a website called lifeafterlayoff.com, and it's loaded with tips and tricks, all from an insider's perspective. And I share my deepest and most intimate knowledge in the form of several training courses. The first one is Resume Rocketfuel. It's designed to teach you how to write and use your resume as a strategic document to give yourself the best chance of getting noticed by those recruiters, ultimately to get your foot in the door for that first round interview. And once you get your foot in the door, it's up to you to sell yourself throughout the rest of the interviewing process. And that's where the ultimate Job Seeker Bootcamp comes in. It takes you all the way from job search to offer negotiation strategy and everything in between. It's the most robust job search tool on the market. And if you want to skip those recruiters or have them come and start searching you out, check out my course, Unlocking LinkedIn, because it breaks down exactly how you do that. So hopefully this helps you act like the CEO of your career, and hopefully we'll see you around that free newsletter. And like always, appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.